Hello, this is Dr. Stanley Lang, and welcome to this video, and thank you for joining me on the journey to spiritual health. And today I'd like to focus on the, the challenge to volunteer for the mission. So what if your boss or somebody that is an authority in your life came to you personally and said, I want you to volunteer for, and then fill in the blank, for something very difficult, something you're not inclined to do, something you wouldn't want to do necessarily, and it was just you and that one person. Most likely you would feel a little bit on the spot and not quite sure that you're actually having the option to volunteer as much as being told what you're going to do. Now, compare that to being in a group of 100 people and the boss or the person that's in charge says, I'm looking for a volunteer. And then he or she describes what the challenge is going to be. And you at that point know that you could volunteer, but you don't feel pressured to because you're not being singled out to do whatever this difficult thing is. Now, the thing about following our Lord Jesus is that he is calling us to volunteer in a way that's similar to the one-on-one approach, in that he is individually calling each one of us, but the way that it feels is like the larger group. In other words, he's not putting any pressure on us. It's more of an invitation to volunteer without any pressure being applied. But within the invitation is the understanding that if you do volunteer, it's going to be a challenge, it's going to be tough, but there's going to be a lot of blessings in it also. And so I'd like to focus a little bit on what does it mean to volunteer to be a representative of Jesus in the world. And I was thinking about some of the things that are kind of critical. And so here's three that we could focus on for just a few moments. And the first thing is that I need to have a passion for creating a home for Jesus in my heart. Not just kind of like a minor goal, not something I think about occasionally, but I'm passionate about it. It consumes me that I am placing a space in my heart for Jesus to live in, and I'm really working hard at it. If I don't have this passion, I'm not going to be passionate about wanting to volunteer for the big challenges that he's going to bring my way. But the second thing is, when I do make room for Jesus in my heart, I start to have more light in the darkness of my heart, and I have an opportunity to see the idols that are there that sort of have been tucked away in the relative darkness of the heart. And so I have now vision to see the idols once I make room for Jesus to really live in my heart. And I have to make passionate effort to get rid of them, or else I'm not going to be passionate about following the call. And the third thing is that I need to have focus on the mission. So it's really easy to have a sort of a general goal that I'd like to accomplish something that I would call a general desire, but to have a passionate, core, heartfelt desire, I have to really be focused on it. And having that heartfelt desire will cause me to focus on it automatically. But that focus flows from these two very simple first steps. Number one, being passionate about creating a place for Jesus in my heart. Number two, once I start to see the idols, to get rid of them, because they will distract me from the mission, and I will be a lousy volunteer for the challenging things that Jesus puts in front of me. In fact, I will shirk the opportunity if I'm not passionate about volunteering to do what he wants me to do. So what does he want us to do? Well, for sure, he wants us to be light in the darkness. There are millions of people out there And there's hundreds of folks around each one of us that are totally lost in the darkness. They don't have a clue for what it means to follow Jesus. And in increasing numbers of people haven't even heard the story of Jesus. So it's kind of like a cuss word or a curse word, but that's about it. And these folks are walking in darkness. They have no hope unless somebody gives them some message to start to think about following Jesus. That's a big part of the mission. And and again, I'm not going to be inclined to take the risk um, if I don't have these passions about making a home in my heart for Jesus and getting rid of the idols. And the second thing that I need to be really focused on in this area of doing the mission is the goal of bearing fruit that will last. So Jesus says that he wants us to bear fruit that will last. What does that mean? Well, it means something that will last to eternity, not last for 5 minutes or 5 days or 5 months, but something that has eternal consequences in a positive way. That's the kind of fruit that I need to be intending to bring to the situation. And so I need to be growing that fruit in my life for me to bring it to the situation. And that again flows from this commitment to make Jesus a really special place in my heart. And number two, as the light of his living there brightens the place up, and I start to see more and more of the idols in my life, to get rid of them also. So I encourage you to consider volunteering for the job, because there's a big job out there, lots of people needing to be touched. And by following Jesus in this way, it is the most powerful way to get in touch with the special graces that flow, these healing graces that flow into our lives when we're actually trying to do the mission of Jesus. So I wish you well. God bless, and have a good day volunteering for the Lord.